Side spray and coil.
And it's midweek. Good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from News about Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Concert tonight. Ghana's inflation drops to 3.8%. This is the lowest level in nearly 27 years. In fact, this also has generated some conversation as to how the trickle-down effect will be. But does this reflect the reality on the ground and in the pockets of consumers? Well, we'll explain to you why this is not the case. And maybe there's a disconnect between your understanding of how the inflation should impact on the cost of goods and services on the market and what the reality is. Well, the Chief Justice, Paul Bafo-Bonny, announces that specialized galamsey courts will go live next Monday. How significant will this be to the fight against illegal mining in this country? Stay with us. We have a conversation. Also, the debate intensifies over whether to rename Kotoka International Airport or keep its historic name. Well, we hear from a statesman on this matter. Also, is investigative journalist has also been speaking about the matters arising to this. We have this, including the trial of Chairman Wontumi, that's Benedict Fiboisiako, and matters arising. We'll link all of that into the galamsey and matters arising as well, and what the judiciary have decided to do going forward. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Breeze.
Policy document for the 24-hour economy program has been presented to Parliament for scrutiny and approval by the House to give effect to its implementation. This follows months of minorities' demands for such document to allow proper oversight. A bill establishing the 24-hour economy authority has been laid.
A very comprehensive document on the 24-hour economy. So the 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program, based on a request that has been made by my friends in the minority, for this report to be laid so that it can be shared among members of the House.
Chief Justice, His Lordship, Paul Bafo-Bonny, has expressed concern over the involvement of foreign nationals in illegal mining, questioning how they gain entry into the country and evade justice even after arrest. He noted that the situation highlights the need for stronger collaboration among the Judicial Service, the Ghana Immigration Service, and the Ghana Prison Service to effectively combat galamsey and other transactional crimes, particularly amid growing congestions in the courts.
In my bid to tackle congestion in courts, we have decided that we are going to set up dual morning and afternoon court system. Some judges will sit in the morning and other judges will sit in the afternoon. We intend to create special courts, and they are going to be rolled out coming Monday. These special courts are going to deal with cybercrime, galamsey, human trafficking, cross-border crime.
The state has closed its case after leading 4 witnesses to testify against the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Boisiako Entry, popularly referred to as Wontumi. The NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman has been jointly charged with Akonta Mining Company Limited on a total of 4 counts relating to the assignment of mineral rights without approval and facilitating unlicensed mining operations. In an effort to address persistent transportation challenges in the capital, the government has announced plans to retool the State Transport Corporation (STC) with 500 new coaches. As part of interim measures, the company has revived its workshop to service and maintain its aging fleet while awaiting the arrival of the new buses. Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nipe made a working visit to STC to assess operations firsthand and familiarize himself with the challenges facing the corporation.
The commercial vehicles are fewer in the system. Private vehicles have taken over the streets. So if the private sector is unable to feed in now, government will have to work, because government exists to solve problems of the citizenry, and we cannot keep on. But just to caution that the private sector should take advantage. If not, that time to come, they will be saying that government have taken over the activities, because what we are going to do in terms of retooling will be a way that they themselves will not find space.
Ghana's annual inflation rate dropped to a near three-decade low of 3.8% in January 2026, intensifying calls for the Bank of Ghana to implement a fifth consecutive policy rate cut. Industry analysts are advocating a reduction of 200 to 300 basis points to ease borrowing costs and boost economic growth. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu believes the economy is progressing towards price stability.
It is the lowest inflation rate recorded since the CPI rebasing in 2021. This sustained decline signals that Ghana is firmly on a path towards price stability.
Well, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. Proudly brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasso Setsa Spray and Call, Tum Preco, coming up here on Ghana Tonight. Specialized galamsey courts go live on Monday. This has been described as a game changer in the fight against illegal mining. Well, we'll tell you exactly how this has also got the anti-illegal mining community also reacting shortly. We'll hear from engineer Dr. Kenashigbe in a bit. He's going to be connecting with us on Zoom. But before that, let's hear from the Chief Justice, His Lordship Paul Bafo-Boni. He's raised concerns over foreign nationals involved in galamsey, questioning how they enter the country and escape even after arrest. He says, that's the Chief Justice, saying that this underscores the need for stronger collaboration between the Judicial Service, the Ghana Immigration Service, and the Ghana Prison Service to combat the menace and other transactional crimes. Now, as the court faces heavy congestion, as we've seen over the period, with special courts set to be rolled out from Monday, the Chief Justice is saying that stronger collaboration between these institutions I mentioned earlier will help fast-track cases and tackle these crimes. Illegal mining, galamsey being one of the key issues to look out for. Take a look.
In my bid to tackle congestion in courts, we have decided that we are going to set up dual morning and afternoon court system. Some judges will sit in the morning and other judges will sit in the afternoon. We intend to create special courts, and they are going to be rolled out coming Monday. These special courts are going to deal with cybercrime, galamsey, human trafficking, In my bid to tackle congestion in courts, we have decided that we are going to set up dual morning and afternoon court system. Some judges will sit in the morning and other judges will sit in the afternoon. We intend to create special courts. They are going to be ruled out coming Monday. These special courts are going to deal with cybercrime, galamsey, human trafficking, cross. In my bid to tackle congestion in courts, we have decided that we are going to set up dual morning and afternoon court system. Some judges will sit in the morning and other judges will sit in the afternoon. We intend to create special courts. They are going to be ruled out coming Monday. These special courts are going to deal with cybercrime.
So that's the Chief Justice there. Let's go on to Zoom now. Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe is the convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey and is connecting with us right now. Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Alfred. How are you?
Well, thank you. So thank you for asking. Now, you hear the Chief Justice clear in his words timelines to when these specialized courts will start, because this is not the first time we're hearing this. If you recall, the president did give some indication of a sort when there were these engagements last year on the fight against galamsey. Now we're hearing from the Chief Justice that by Monday, these specialized courts will kick in live, and that is also meant to deal with this backlog of cases, galamsey being one of the major ones. How does it strike you?
Well, Alfred, we've been waiting for this for too long a time. You know, the offer was made last year, and now we hear the Chief Justice give a timeline to it. Monday is just a few days away. Again, we would want to see how, you know, these courts would operate and how it would result in speedy trial of some of these cases that have been stuck in the courts. And so we take it with cautious optimism, hoping that it would deliver what exactly we are hoping it would do. But you know that it's not just the issues of the courts. It starts from the arrest to the investigators and to the prosecutions. We're hoping that our police people would take the criminals or the suspected criminals that will be arrested through the Minerals and Mining Act and not be using any trespass or anything. And then our judges would also do a good job and would have speedy trials, and will also not just be dealing with, you know, the small fishes, but the kingpins that His Excellency the President promised in October 2024. We're going to be able to see these people being prosecuted as well.
And one of the concerns I recall, well, maybe not concerns, but one of the issues that the Attorney General raised sometime last year, in fact, when the President met the CSOs, you were there at that meeting at the Jubilee House on the same matter of galamsey. The Attorney General did indicate that you arrest these illegal miners, you take them to court, they are granted bail, and the next moment they are seen back at the same illegal mining site where they were arrested. I mean, how would this, from where you sit, address this challenge that he talked about?
Well, I think it's a major problem. And you see, Alfred, you need to go back to the days of Operation Vanguard, for example. You know, we're recording less than 10% prosecution, and convictions were even less. And then we know the number of arrests that the NIMOS have been able to do. How many of that have been able to been successfully prosecuted? The wheels of justice, you know, seem to move too extra slow when it comes to the issues of galamsey. So we are hoping that now that there's a specialized court, the Chief Justice would also pay attention to it, so that the judges who will be handling these cases themselves will know that the Chief Justice is watching, all of us are watching, and so that the cases, you know, all the cases that, you know, we've reported, we would then be able to see some prosecution. And you see, once we get prosecutions happen, it also then becomes a deterrent. And then hopefully, because these are also specialized courts, we would have judges who understand the laws so far as the Minerals and Mining Act is concerned, and they would apply them. Bear in mind, some time back, there was a Takwa court where there were some Chinese that had been arrested. When prosecution was done, the judge gave them the minimum sentence for Ghanaians. That's what he gave to foreigners, you know. And so we are hoping, which was just a fine, will be paid like a ticket. So we're hoping that our judges who will be sitting there would bear in mind that these are existential threats that face us. And so when the cases come, they would make sure that they are exacting the maximum punishment. We need to ensure that when they are foreigners, they serve their sentences before, if they are going to be deported, they are deported. You see, justice should not only be done, but should be seen to be done, and should be done expeditiously.
Let's see. Now, as of end of last year, we're told almost 2,000 illegal miners had been arrested from January last year to the end of December. A number of them have been arraigned before court. So if we're talking about fixing that problem of the backlog of cases, we should also be looking at the prisons, is it not? Because if all of these persons who are arrested would have to be imprisoned after the guilt has been established, that's also going to create another challenge at that end, isn't it?
Well, definitely that's the case. And again, I'm just hoping that in doing all of this, we will be looking for, the root causes. So in the prosecutions that would be done, the Attorney General and his prosecutors and the state attorneys would be able to use a lot of the pawns that are in these games that might be arrested to be able to get the knights, the queens, and the kings, who are behind this, so that we're not just going to be imprisoning these little ones who are in there to eke a living. Yes, they've committed the crimes, but we should be able to use that, to lure and then be able to get the root causes. These politically exposed people, these influential people, these organized criminals who are behind it. So yes, I agree with you that we need to make sure we're clearing we're unclogging our prisons. So we should not be giving people whose sins are misdemeanors custodial sentences. But these hardened galamsey criminals, especially the kingpins who are involved in this, they are the ones who should be serving the steep custodial sentences. And I'm just also hoping that this whole thing of community service that we've been talking about as also being able to come, then they're not too serious cases, the misdemeanors and all of that. Community cases, sentences could then be done. And then these people who are really impacting upon our existence as a people, they would be given the stiffer custodial sentences. And then another thing that Alfred would do for us is that all the several excavators that have been confiscated, and all of these equipment, that are seized in the theaters of these crimes, that we've not been able to do forfeiture for. The courts, once they find them guilty, we can get forfeiture and then we can deploy them into some better use.
I see. Now, there's a trend, and this is going to be my final point. There's something I have observed over the period with the NIMOS's operations in these illegal mining areas. Before they get there, it's either the illegal miners have gotten wind of they are coming, and so they run away. They leave that site even before NIMOS gets there. Or in some cases, as we've seen with the Forestry Commission guards, they get these illegal mining sites. They don't even arrest them because they are a lot in this Abrewa Ninkrang area, thousands. Mm-hmm. So they had to rather burn down this settlement and then disperse them. From what we're hearing, these illegal miners at Abrewa Ninkrang who were dispersed after their location was burned down have converged again. They're coming back. They're coming back to do it. That's a big challenge, is it not?
No, it's definitely a big challenge. But there was a solution. You mentioned the engagement that we had with His Excellency the President, the CSOs. In that meeting, NIMOS had told us specifically that they were going to, one of their strategies was to set up permanent bases in these places, so that they are not just going and coming back like they are currently doing, but it looks as if they've not been provided the resources. So our appeal to His Excellency the President is that 150 million cedis that have been offered to NIMOS in the budget should be released, so NIMOS can have permanent bases within these places. Our forest reserves, our water bodies, they can permanently, so Abrewa Ninkrang, for example, you need to have a permanent base in there, so that when you go into these places, you then can hold the force that are there because they are supposed to be there. They're not supposed to be leaving. Again, the Forestry Commission has also started a project where now they are building permanent bases, very strong bases within, some of their forest reserves. That's also something that should be encouraged. And I would urge His Excellency the President, the Minister of Finance, that the resources that are required to make sure that the NIMASs have their permanent bases, the forestry people also have their permanent bases, and then we make the forestry guards, we make them a paramilitary organization. Make sure we provide them with superior firepower compared to what these illegal miners are having, so that then we can consolidate it. So once you go in there, you clear the people, you're able to deal with it. It also would mean that in terms of, some of these attacks where they ran off, the element of surprise is going to be important. Recently, we saw NIMAS get into a place in the eastern region. After trekking several kilometers and getting there, the people were able to swim to the other side. What is happening with our deployment of the Navy? What is happening with our deployment of the Air Force? So that sorties could be flown over these places. And then we'll make sure that we're arresting these people. And we should be using a lot more of the intelligence community to be able to strengthen our fight of it. So I am pretty sure that if you left it for the military, if you gave them all the resources that are required, permanent bases in these particular places, we would be able to deal with it constructively than we are currently doing. These things where they have to travel into those particular places and then the tip-offs will be done and all of that would then become a thing of the past.
Thank you, Engineer Dr. Kanashigbe. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I know that this Chairman Wontumi case is one that you've also been following quite closely. You have keen interest in them. What we're hearing today is that the state has closed this case after leading the 4 witnesses to testify against Bernardine Chibuesiakom. And I want to find out quickly your own thoughts about this particular development, because what we're hearing is that Chairman Wontumi's lawyers have decided that, look, the minimum threshold of evidence has not even been proven so far after these 4 persons that were filed or presented by the Attorney General have been cross-examined. So he shouldn't even speak at all. What's your take on this?
Well, it would be a shame if, with all the evidence that, we had collected all the way from 2022 all the way to this time, it would be a crying shame if the prosecution are not able to do a good job. Well, we still would be watching, and it's a place that we really are watching because, again, I'm not a lawyer, but again, if you look at all the evidence that we had, and in terms of the conversations that we have had with, the lawyers and with some of the prosecutors, in terms of the evidence that was available right away from 2022, when he was, caught mining in the Tanonimre Forest Reserve and also breaching the buffer policy, there was ample evidence. And again, we saw that the Prime Minister for Lands and Natural Resources himself had also done some extra work that had been done. I am confident in the Attorney General. I'm just hoping that the state attorneys that are handling this particular case do a good job. Again, that's why I was telling you that the thing about the whole prosecution thing does not only start with the judges or with a special court. It starts all the way from the evidence that were gathered, the investigators that have been working on this, and then the prosecutors and the way the cases are done. So all of us are watching, and I'm happy the media is also paying attention to it, and so that we ensure that cases like this, we deal with them. But it's not only Chairman Wontumi's case. There are other politically exposed persons whose cases we have not seen. If you take the Professor Frimpong Boateng report, for example, it's replete with a lot of politically exposed persons who are in it. The Attorney General, in the meeting you referred to with the SOs with His Excellency the President, had promised us other investigations that was being done. What is happening to that as well? To be able to deal with this issue of galamsey, we need to deal with the politically exposed persons who are involved in this. And so that these are issues that we're hoping that will be dealt with. So we are watching, and some of the lawyers who are involved in the coalition and as well, keep on explaining some of these things to us. And we want to ensure that the right thing is that justice has to be served.
I thank you so much for joining us. And matters like this, the burden of proof is on the prosecution, and in criminal cases like this, it must be beyond reasonable doubt, and that's actually what we're getting into right now, because the NPP Ashanti Regional Chair, Engineer Dr. Kanashigbe, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you. He is the convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. He's the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines as well. So all of those and how things play out in the fight against illegal mining impacts on him in both ways. But the Ashanti Regional Chair of the New Patriotic Party, that's Benadetri Boysiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, has been jointly charged, as we do know, with the Akonta Mining Company Limited, his company, and then also that's an artificial person, and then the manager of the Akonta Mining, that's Kwame Enchi. This matters of assignment of mineral rights without authority, facilitating unlicensed mining operations. Now, what does all of this mean? And this is what we're going to show to you, because and how far we have come with this particular case over the period up until this point. Well, as we do know, the charges were filed. In fact, 6 charges all in total against these 3. That is Benadetri Boysiako, Kwame Enchi, the managing director, and then also Akonta Mining as an official person in this regard. These persons were arraigned, and this Kwame Enchi, as at the time, was at large, but then Chairman Wontumi pleaded not guilty and granted bail. As we do know, the bail conditions, it took a couple of days or more for him to meet that bail condition, and the trial then proceeded, and the prosecution, the Attorney General, the state for that matter, presented 4 witnesses to testify, and the Chairman Wontumi's lawyers also had the opportunity to cross-examine these witnesses. Essentially, what has happened now is that today, the prosecution, that's the state, has closed its case, and Chairman Wontumi's lawyers say, well, they're filing for a submission of no case. What that essentially means is that his lawyers argue that the minimum evidence or evidential threshold has not been met. After cross-examining these 4 witnesses, say that, look, I mean, there's really nothing for their client to answer. So you should just go ahead with it. So what's going to happen going forward is that the trial judge, would have to rule whether or not this particular application will hold. If it doesn't, then the trial proceeds. If it does, what's going to happen is Chairman Wontumi will be acquitted and discharged, because, look, he's essentially going to be a free man, at least for as far as this particular case is concerned. And what then leads us to the Attorney General's own verdict on this. This is going to be the next step. If application is upheld, Chairman Wontumi will be acquitted and discharged. That's going to be a big turning point, because if you hear Engineer Dr. Kanashigbe says, well, there was abundance of evidence even before this trial started, that has to stand the test of the law. In the court of law, the language is evidence beyond reasonable doubt in criminal matters like this. If this application or submission of no case is not upheld, Chairman Wontumi will be ordered to open his defense. And what that means is that these witnesses that he is also going to be presenting will testify and cross-examined. And eventually, the defense will close their case, written submissions will be made, and then we would wait for the judgment of the court. So beyond this, we'll get to find out if this case will travel the long haul or the full haul, or it will be truncated at some point. The Attorney General has also, in fact, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Edem Sremsai, also posted something on this, what happened today. We're going to get into that in a bit. And this is what he's been talking about regarding what the next steps will be regarding Chairman Wontumi's case. And this is it. He says, this afternoon, our hardworking state attorneys closed the Republic's case against Chairman Wontumi, that's Benadetri Boysiako, and his 2 co-accused persons, Kwame Enchi, who is at large, and Akonta Mining Limited. The core accusation in the case is that Chairman Wontumi, without ever obtaining the required ministerial approval, gave his mining concession in Samreboy to some people to use for galamsey. We called 4 witnesses in all. Our first witness was one of the galamsey headmen. He was arrested together with other galamseyers in a Akonta mining office on the concession. The headman testified that he, indeed, supervised several persons to conduct galamsey on the concession. Our second witness was the headman's employer. He testified that he had an arrangement with Chairman Wontumi to conduct galamsey on the concession and to reclaim the land. He also testified to how Chairman Wontumi used his political influence to get national security protection for their galamsey activities on the concession. Our third witness, a police detective, tendered in evidence investigative statements, including one in which Chairman Wontumi admitted to giving a part of his Samreboy concession to our second witness, but for purposes of land reclamation only and not for galamsey. He gave no money for the reclamation. Our fourth witness, a mining law and regulation expert, testified that allowing another person to carry out mining activities on a concession requires the minister's approval. He told the court that Akonta Mining did not have an approval to let another person mine or reclaim the concession. Chairman Wontumi's lawyers have told the court that they want to make a submission of no case, as I referenced earlier, which essentially means they will tell the court that the Republic has not brought sufficient evidence to require Chairman Wontumi to even open his mouth to utter a word or defend himself. The lawyers have 14 days within which to make their submission of no case. Our attorneys will oppose the submission of no case the year. Justice Dr. Adam Sremsai, you have it there. You'll find this on his socials, so, and also reproduce on 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Now, coming up next, the Kotoka International Airport renaming debate heats up. Statesman Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is also weighing in on this particular matter, and in fact, a number of persons as well who have been sharing their thoughts, views, and opinions on it, and what the way forward in their view should be regarding this particular development. And earlier today, the minister in charge of transport also gave some reasons why this has actually become a matter of consideration for the government. We're going to hear from the transport minister in a bit to set the basis for this conversation, because Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is going to be responding to what the transport minister stated. We're going to go for this quick break. When we're back, we'll get into it on this show, Ghana Tonight. Stay with us.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo paint?
As an interior decorator, I aim for that beautiful, elegant look. Flamingo paint has great hiding ability to cover and transform old walls easily with just one coat.
Impressive. For me, as a professional painter, I love Flamingo paints because it gives small paints that paint huge area, meaning more profit for me. Great value for money.
As an architect, Flamingo paint, with its well-researched and solid composition, guarantees durability for all my buildings.
Flamingo paint, superior hiding, superior coverage, superior durability. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, We spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to Amame Manfo, Kale Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so buying, and Maniswing, Nesansu Mama Hoto so a will beg you.
Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Choose Kale Charcoal toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kale, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friendly Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Friendly once now.
Hey, that's you.
Improve car.
Yeah.
Captain Mosquito, double the action. Me did this sasso spray. Mr. Friendly sasso quell. Yeah, go to my sasso.
Tum preko.
It's time to upgrade your viewing experience with Franco Smart Television. Enjoy full HD and 4K Ultra display for clearer pictures, brighter colors, and smarter features. From our 32-inch screen, perfect for your bedroom, to 55, 65, and massive 100 inches for your living room or office. We've got the perfect size and quality. For retailing and bulk purchasing, call the numbers on the screen or visit our website at www.francotrading.com. You can download the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Franco Television, we've got the perfect size for every room. Franco, home of quality television.
26 promises joy, adventure, and new experiences. Global Wings Travel and Tours, in partnership with Media General, invites you to experience the best of Asia with an unforgettable Malaysia and Singapore tour this April 2026. Experience 9 unforgettable days filled with experience, luxury, and limitless fun. Your package includes return air ticket, 4 nights Kuala Lumpur hotel, 3 nights Singapore hotel, daily half board in both cities, Malaysia visa facilitation, Kuala Lumpur city tour, Petronas Twin Tower, Genting Highland with cable ride, inter-country transfer, Singapore city tour and Marina Observatory deck, Sentosa Island full day tour with cable car, and so much more. Why wait? Make your April 2026 Malaysia and Singapore trip a reality with one call. Book now by calling or WhatsApping 0550 18818.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Let's take a listen to the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari Nikpe, on this raging debate of whether or not to change the name of Kotoka International Airport to the proposed Accra International Airport. Take a look.
Original name. We will remember that in the period of the Second World War, around 1946, the British Royal Air Force used that place as an Air Force base to carry people to war and other activities. After that period, somewhere in 56, that facility was handed over to the civilian rule. That was the time Sergeant Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was at the helm of affairs. He retooled, he revamped, and redeveloped the Air Force base into a civilian passenger airport. And as at that time, the name was Accra International Airport. And that name is of significance to us. We all here have accepted that Accra is our capital city, marketed, rich culture, and also locational identity. That everybody in this world, especially in the West Africa sub-region, knows that where this struggle for independence had a lot to do from Accra. And so renaming the airport to Accra International Airport is of significant importance to the Ghanaian people and, for that matter, the African personality. Now, the situation is like that we are not doing this with any political thinking. We are doing this to come from a very neutral point of view that Accra is our capital city. It is not anybody's name. If we want to name other monuments or any other national facilities to people, this is the time that we are looking at restructuring them. For the fact that we had a name and it was changed to honor somebody in his role in the 1966 coup, we feel that that history is not what the Ghanaian will want to hear. The fact that it had an original name, and that name was when the first president gave that name to the airport, we should do that, and Kwame Nkrumah himself in his grave will remember, even if the spirit is anywhere and it is coming home, it will get to his original Accra International Airport, no any other name. And so we are not doing this to cause any pain or any harm to anybody. We want to look at the geographical importance, and we want to look at other practices in the world. For instance, we have the Nairobi International Airport. We have the Addis Ababa International Airport. So renaming Accra International Airport is one of the glories we think that we will be doing to our forefathers who fought for independence for us and gave us these rich and respected names. We are not in any way rushing on this bill. It is going to go through all the processes. For this time round, it is to be laid in Parliament. It is when it is laid, we will debate it, we will go through it, and we'll let Ghanaians know the historical importance of renaming our airport and the benefit it will come along with.
So that's the Transport Minister giving some reasons and the basis for this whole idea of renaming or restoring the earlier name of the Kotoka International Airport to that original name of the Accra International Airport. In fact, this was an airstrip, as we do know, redeveloped sometime in 1956. That name that was given to the redeveloped airstrip was the Accra International Airport. That is what is being sought now to have it then reverted to. But there's a reason why this Accra International Airport, as named in 1956, was renamed then to Kotoka International Airport. And this is what we're going to take you through. There was actually an enabling legislation that led to the name change to the Kotoka International Airport from the then Accra International Airport. And this is it. That's a General Kotoka Trust Decree 1969. I'm going to put it on the screen right now, NLCD 339. And this, why exactly was this legislation really necessary? It was to demonstrate gratitude for liberation and rebirth of freedom in Ghana. Remember, because this 1966 coup happened at the time when there was this whole, demonstration and also the pushback on the Preventing Detention Act and this whole quest for a one-party state that the then Nkrumah-led government was being accused of pushing. And so all of this was captured in the sense that these persons who fought for their freedom and the rebirth of the freedom in Ghana and for liberation, gratitude to them, achieved by the gallant men, including Kotoka, for fighting against those quests and objectives by the then Nkrumah-led administration. The paragraph 8 of this legislation we're talking about, the objectives of the said trust, was to establish, one, the renaming of the Accra International Airport. So this is it. If you look at the paragraph 8 of this legislation, it gives reasons for the renaming of the Accra International Airport then, to Kotoka International Airport after the late Lieutenant General Emmanuel Kwesi Kotoka without any financial charge being placed on the trust fund. And remember, the objective was to show gratitude to him and other gallant men for the freedom, the rebirth of freedom in Ghana. The naming of an army barracks, Kotoka Barracks, after the late General Kotoka without any financial charge being placed on the said trust fund. The erection of a statue. You go there at some point, there was a statue of the late General Kotoka there at that same site where the Kotoka International Airport is located now, as a warrior in full battle dress at the spot where he fell. Because if you recall, the late Kotoka was shot just around that airport area where the Kotoka International Airport is located, near the Accra International Airport, and the creation of a quiet garden in the area surrounding the statue. So all of this was captured in law, okay? Now, there's another process that is going to go through this same legal process in Parliament to have this name now reverted to the original Accra International Airport. Togbi Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, a former military officer himself, a statesman. She's joining us on Zoom for a quick conversation on this. Togbi, appreciate your time on this particular issue. And the Transport Minister has been giving some reasons for the decision. And in fact, he says the renaming of the airport is, to quote, is significant in terms of its importance to the Ghanaian people, and for that matter, the African personality. You disagree? Why?
Now, firstly, it is unfortunate that such a move should come from the present government. Very unfortunate, because I thought they have learned their lesson. Lessons in the sense that we've had previous government that has disappointed the people of this country. And I thought when they come to power, there are certain things they will tackle first and foremost. And they started well, no doubt about that. For them to bring this in just a year after coming to power surprised me greatly. In the first place, is it relevant? Is it important? Secondly, such things, that is change of names or whatever they are, involves a lot of money. And the nation has no money. So who brought in that idea? Who advised the government on this issue? If the person is there, still with government, then he should bow his head in shame. There are more important issues to discuss. Now, in this world, history is the best teacher. And to quote late Malcolm X said, history is the best teacher. And if you have a problem, all that you do is that you look to others who had problems similar to your problem. And if you are able to see how they solve their problem, you use their method to solve your problem. Now, most of these young people around don't know that Kwame Nkrumah had a statue before. The very spot where he declared independence was where that statue was placed. A bronze statue. In 1966, when he was overthrown, they brought bulldozers to bring the statue, the whole bronze statue down. Where is the statue today? And why? What we see there now was recently put there. I think we have to learn from the past. Yes, Kotoka, amongst others, plan and stage a coup. And any African, for that matter, a Pan-African, definitely did not agree with them. However, it is part of our history. And the moment you erase that, it follows someone else will come later and repeat the same thing. That's why the white people keep their records. We don't keep records here. You go to our national archives and see, you look for very important records and they are not there. But go to England and you see the duplicates there. So I believe strongly those who came with this idea and were able to push it to government must immediately withdraw it. And I must tell John Mahama, the president, that he should be very careful with his advices if he has any.
Well, but I just want to talk with Dr. Nyanya Otawanklo, just refer to what the transport minister said. I'm going to quote exactly what he said in response to a couple of the issues that you raised. He says that the proposed bill, which is meant to, as it were, change the name of Kotoka International Airport to the original name of the Accra International Airport, as I did reference, among other things, is aimed at promoting the location identity of Ghana's capital city. That's number one. And the fact that this particular airport originally served as an Air Force base during the Second World War, used for transporting soldiers and weapons before it was converted into a civilian airport under the Nkrumah administration. And as we're saying now, he says that the bill is aimed at promoting, one, the local identity. That's number one. And they are not doing this with any political thinking. They are doing it to come from a very neutral point of view in the interest of the Republic of Ghana. That's the justification. Go we.
Look, I'm very sure I'm older than the minister. And I believe strongly I've seen a lot in this country than here. I remember in those days when I was a kid, yes, the airport was just a small airport. And there used to be a hotel there called Lisbon Hotel. Lisbon. Think about the word itself. Lisbon Hotel. Now, if the airport had been used as a military base before, whatever he says, that is historical. After that, we have had independence. We've had Ghana Airways. For years, it's now extinct. We have other airlines, KLM, they have been flying here for years. We had before British Overseas Airways Corporation, known as BOAC, before even Ghana Airways came. These are all historical facts. The fact that the place was called Accra International Airport, no. That should not in any way convince anybody that those then, I'm talking about the government then, who decided to name the place after their fallen, colleague, didn't know about this thing. But as I said, history is the best teacher. No one will deny the fact that Kotoka was a coup maker. No one will deny the fact that South Africa was a coup maker. They didn't put the names there themselves. No. It was the government that put the name there. And it's just to remind the people of this country that we've passed through a certain stage in our history. Removing the name Kotoka from there will not in any way erase what has happened or what happened. So the explanation the minister gave It's so raw. I wouldn't like even to comment on it further.
Well, but this matter is going to go through Parliament. It's going to come in the form of a bill. As the minister has clearly indicated yesterday, the majority leader was clear on the path that this particular process would take. It would be laid before the House. There's going to be a debate on it as well. Then eventually, we'll see how things play out. But he's been quite clear. I'm talking about the transport minister. He's been quite clear about the objective of this being in the interest of the nation and not political in any way, based on at least his explanation so far. Toby.
Look, let me tell you one thing. We have been pretending in this country. We have been giving wrong advice to leaders in this country. What they triggered, or what the minister has triggered, has brought a very sharp political division already into the country. Within hours, I'm telling you. And he should not think he's playing with little minds in this country. There are people who sit down and think, and they think seriously. What he has done, rather, has triggered serious political issues. And the earlier they pull it out, the better.
Well, we'll see how the coming days will be on this, and especially because this matter is going to be subjected to debate on the floor of Parliament. We'll follow it quite closely. Talk with Dr. Nyahuna Untamaklo. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. But the cost matter that you referenced, Toby, is one that has also come up for some reference as well regarding how this debate is playing out. Some airports that have been renamed and the associated costs have also been seen, as it were, being adduced as one of the areas of reference for those who believe that this is not the path to take. The Makaran International Airport was renamed to the Harry Reid International Airport. It cost the United States government sometime in 2021 some $7 million, right? Because of everything else that I had to do to have that name change. Then, if you look at the Baltimore Washington International Airport, also there was a renaming in 2005. The cost of it was put to $4.7 million. In fact, that's one of the least we've seen in about 12 airports that have been renamed across the world. $4.7 million renamed to the Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport. San Jose International Airport was renamed to the Norman Y. Menetasan Jose International Airport. And then we see the cost there as well, together with this in the last 5 in terms of the least cost that we have seen in the 12 that we tracked. And then the highest being one of this as well, the $7 million. And so, well, if you throw in the cost argument as well, and it doesn't necessarily mean that what the path we're taking will cost this much. But then again, the minister also would have to give some more details on exactly how this renaming will be, because we have to go through the ICAO as well, have all of that recorded, the signet at the airport, all of those changes have to be made and cost put to all of them. So the cost element is obviously important, one that we would also have to look into. So in the coming days, this is one as well that will get the attention of members of Parliament and then obviously the general public. But on behalf of the team, thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. We're back again tomorrow for another conversation. I'm Alfred Kansi. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.